What's up, guys? Figured might as well do a little late night live stream, see if we can find any good bets. And if we can, lock them in for tomorrow. So I know the last live stream that I did, there were a lot of good plays, a lot of early DFS lines. We still have some baseball tonight, so we'll kind of just take a look throughout the market. As I always say, as a sports bettor, when you wake up, ooh, here's a good one. So here's a good play, right? Astros Angels. This plays on Fliff. So I've said this in other videos, but like you may use, whatever, different sports books than I do. There are 200 or something like that sports books on OddsJam, right? And unfortunately, they're not all going to be legal in your location, right? So, for example, FanDuel is a sports book I use all the time when I'm home in Virginia, but it's not legal where I am right now. So I can't bet on it. So long story short, like depending on the books you use, the goal of this hopefully live stream is to just kind of explain like profitable betting strategy, stuff like that. But, you may not be able to place all these bets depending on where you're located. But these are some of the main sports books, right? Fliff, I believe, is located in nearly every single state. So what I can do is just kind of pull up all the books I'm going to use, and then we'll get into it. One more book I want to pull up, which is Hot Streak. So we'll go here, trying to move somewhat quickly. And okay, perfect. So now we can get started. So the first play I'm going to lock in is in the Astros Angels game, right? They actually just improved the odds on this from plus 130. This bet was already good. So when you're using the EV tool, it's pretty simple, right? Like you want to hit the bets in bold and in green. And it looks like they just improved the odds to plus 135. So let me refresh this because it seems like this play got even better. It may take a second to refresh on the screen. But I have a bunch of different sports books pulled up. And, I've said this in other live streams, but, as a sports bettor, you want to have as many books as possible. Like I'll be giving out plays on, at least today where I'm located on Fliff, on, Hot Streak, on Underdog Fantasy, Prize Picks. You never know where the value is going to be on a given day, right? Sometimes there's a ton of profitable bets on Hot Streak. Sometimes there's less, right? Like as a sharp bettor, you're hunting through the market. You're looking for plays with an edge, right? It's like being an investor. You're opportunistic. You don't just decide, I'm going to buy this. You hunt through the market. You look for those rare few investments that actually have an edge. And, that's what you'll invest in. So it's kind of the same thing as a sports bettor. Like we never know tomorrow which sports books are going to slip up, offer profitable bets. So you can see here in the Astros Angels game, this play looks great. So let me just go bet it quickly. I've already locked in a bunch of bets for today. Some of them have started. A lot of them I gave out on Twitter or in the last live stream, but let's just go ahead. Let's go to this game, right? Astros Angels. And then what we want to take is we want to go to innings. So it's good to know how to navigate these sports books somewhat quickly. So we want to go to over 4.5 runs at plus 135 odds, right? And I'll lock this in for the max bet size allowed on Fliff, which is 250. So why do we like this bet? And, it's pretty simple. There's really good value on it. And I know it seems, so simple. It's like, oh, you're not going to look at, the last 10 games and how many runs between these teams were scored in the first half of the game. And the thing is like all of that is already baked into sportsbook odds. And what's so crazy about sports betting is like, if you think about like the price of Facebook stock, it's $308. There's one price, right? It's 308.87. So what makes sports betting really unique is it's the same thing here, right? Like basically, there's very few differences between trading stocks and betting on sports, right? Except the differences are the sports betting market is very fragmented and very inefficient, right? All these sports books are posting odds on all these different bets, right? And they all have different odds from one another, right? And all of these sports books have, sophisticated models. FanDuel, Caesars, or BetMGM, these are billion-dollar companies. They've invested a lot of money in their ability to set lines, right? And they're both telling you all these sports books have slightly different models. They're taking slightly different bets, moving around lines, due to supply and demand. So the same way someone buys a stock, the price goes up. Kind of the same thing in sports betting, right? If everyone starts hammering the over, odds are going to get lower odds are going to move towards the under. So you can pull up like a line movement chart and kind of see like, okay, like what has happened to this line. But long story short, like we're getting good value on Fliff, so I locked in this play. It's pretty simple. Like the analogy is like imagine your friend said, hey, I don't want Facebook stock anymore. I'll sell you my Facebook stock for $200. You would be crazy not to take that trade because on the New York Stock Exchange or whatever, Facebook is worth 308.87, and every day there's millions of smart people with models and traders and hedge funds and mutual funds. Like every single second of every single day, there's all these investors thinking, is Facebook overvalued or undervalued? Should I buy or should I sell it? Right? That's what they do all day. So the price that Facebook, where, supply and demand is equal, 308.87, is, the fair price of Facebook currently. This is where supply and demand is equal of all these people trading Facebook, selling it, buying it when they think it's too high, too low. And this is what the current price is. So it's kind of the same thing here, right? You have all these different data points telling you where a line should be set, and Fliff is a clear discrepancy at plus 135. So this play has a 5.42% edge, right? So your edge is just your profit margin. So I hit this bet for 250, right? It has a 5.42% profit margin. So this bet has 1355 in profit margin. You just take your edge, right, under this percent column. This is referred to as your edge, and you multiply it by your stake. In this case, $250. So pretty simple, but that will be the first play I lock in on this live stream. And then another thing, I've mentioned this before, but like a lot of these books run promos. All these sports books, Hot Streak, Underdog, they're all competing with one another to try to get new customers, to try to get people to their platform. So they offer these promos, kind of as like as a marketing cost. So it doesn't look like Hot Streak right now, at least, is offering, any really promos, but Hot Streak in general, they run odds boosts every single hour. So I've explained this in other videos, but like, these promos are definitely something you want to be aware of. So for example, what's another one? So I don't know if you use this sports book or if it's legal in your location, but you can see this platform called Sleeper, which is a sports book I use. Like they're literally giving you free money, right? They're reducing Castillo's line from 7.5 strikeouts to half of a strikeout. So obviously he's going to go over. It's a 93%, discount they're giving you. So like these promos, taking advantage of these really easy money, no-brainer promos, however you want to think about them as. So let me refresh this. On Underdog Fantasy. So where's an example? There was a play on Mahomes. So you can see right here, I've already won my first play. There we go. Whistle over 2.5. But like right now, if you didn't bet this, Underdog Fantasy is running a promo. Again, this is basically a free win. They have Mahomes' line. You can only bet a max of $20, but the over-under is at 0.5 passing yards. It's a promo, right? This is a marketing cost for them. They know this is free money for sports bettors. They know Mahomes is going to have over half of a passing yard, right? There's no catch. It's just a marketing cost for these sports books. So like taking advantage of these really good promos, definitely something you want to do. So, just wanted to mention that before we get into some of these picks. So I'll refresh this and then we can, take a look, kind of see what's out there. So I'll switch over to Underdog Fantasy. Why not? What the F is going on? So what we can do is we can take a look at, it looks like there's some eSports. Also, I'm not sure what's going on with this Ken Waldachuk person. So if we go back here and we go to the MLB. So a little confusing. I'm not really sure what's going on, but Parlay Play has his line at 4. BetMGM, but regardless, let's just kind of refresh this and let's look at some eSports plays just because this game's about to start and I'm not really sure what's going on with the lines here because it looks like a lot of sports books like FanDuel pulled their strikeout lines. What we can also do is just go here to the sportsbook screen on OddsJam. So sometimes like if there's lineup changes, sportsbooks will pull odds. So let me just go to player strikeouts real quickly. Let's go. Let's go to player strikeouts. Okay. And then we want to check out what's going on with this Ken guy. Because maybe there is some value on Underdog Fantasy. I just need to pull it up. Because right now, the Fantasy Optimizer, it's only showing us BetMGM and Parlay Play. But I'm sure, unless something crazy just happened, there's definitely more sports books that, should have odds posted. So we'll go to Ken Waldachuk, and we can take a look at, what's going on for him. So we'll pull it up. Yeah, so kind of weird, right? All these sports books have removed lines on him. I don't know if he's scheduled not to play, but it looks like, half the sports books have removed his odds. So maybe it's a play with value. I don't know, but we can wait for some more sports books to post his strikeout line back. Has recent injuries. I'm not really sure. But anyways, let's go back to eSports. And what I'll do is I'll remove baseball and we can take a look at eSports. And then let me just refresh this. So what this tool does, this is the Fantasy Optimizer, is there's not a ton of books that, post eSports lines. But all it does, right, is the great thing about eSports is there's just a lot of games. And more games means, more profitable betting opportunities, more opportunities for sports books to kind of screw up. People always love football betting, and football is great. But games are basically Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and there's only one game on Monday and Thursday. So in general, there's going to be less opportunities in football than esports. Literally every day, all these sports books have thousands of different lines, right? All these different players, League of Legends, CSGO, right? Prize Picks has the same thing. So all Odds Jam is doing. And another benefit of esports is it's an inefficient market, right? And what I mean by that is, first of all, it's kind of new market. Sportsbooks recently added esports. And second of all, sportsbooks don't exactly watch their esports lines as closely as NFL, which means you can find some pretty good opportunities. You can find some pretty good discrepancies. So for example, I'll just give you an example. On Underdog Fantasy, you can see what it's showing us right here is in CSGO, Freeze's line is 30 on Underdog. Prize Picks has it at 27.5. So what we can do is we can just pull up this. And not a lot of sports books post, what am I trying to say? Not a lot of sports books have player props for esports. But long story short, if I told you LeBron's points line was 27.5 on Prize Picks, 30 on Underdog, or if sports books had a 2.5 point discrepancy, you'd be like, no way, that's crazy. Right. And it doesn't happen. So esports is great because, again, you find bigger discrepancies than you're ever going to find in, the NFL, the MLB, stuff like that. You're never going to find 2.5 point discrepancies for, any NBA player between Prize Picks and Underdog Fantasy. It's just not going to happen. But when it's esports and these books have so many different lines to manage, and these, games are all times of the day, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., these sports books are pretty good at setting lines. They have pretty sophisticated models. They put a lot of money into it, but they screw up occasionally, right? And they don't have that many employees. So who's watching Underdog Fantasy's lines at 6:15 p.m. on a Friday, and then especially at midnight on a Saturday, 2 a.m. on a Saturday? I don't know. Probably not that many people. So, you're able to find profitable bets, long story short, in esports easier. So all OddsJam is doing is just kind of pointing out these discrepancies to you. So the first play that maybe looks a little interesting is right here, right? We have Virtuoso, right? So let me pull this up right here. We have Virtuoso under 39 on Underdog, right? And then you go over to Prize Picks, and they have his line at 36.5. So that's a pretty big discrepancy, right? And these are, different games, different teams, but we found a pretty big discrepancy. So what we could do, there are a couple different things we could do, is we could take the over on Prize Picks, the under on Underdog Fantasy, and work ourselves into what's called a middle bet, right? So if you look at this play on Freeze, for example, his line's at 27.5 here. It's at 30 on Underdog Fantasy. So if we bet both and he has exactly 28 or 29 kills in map 1-2, we're going to win both bets, right? Because there's such a big line discrepancy, we're going to win our over 27.5, and we're also going to win our under 39 or our under 30. I apologize. And then if he has exactly 30 kills in map 1-2, we're going to win the over and we're going to push the under. So one thing, I've said this before, but oftentimes, the biggest discrepancies you're going to find for esports are when the lines are, first released. So I'll just give you an example. Is if you look at this Valkyrie guy, right? His line is 8.5 on Underdog Fantasy. On Prize Picks, we got him at 5.5. Right? Imagine an NBA player's rebounds line. Like, who's a good example? Whatever, LeBron. Imagine his rebound line was 8.5 on Underdog, 5.5 on Prize Picks. You'd be like, that's absolutely insane. How are these sports books screwing up so big? Right? It's a huge discrepancy, right? It's like 40%. So what I did is I took the over and I took the under here. And if he has exactly 6, 7, or 8, then I'm going to win my under on Underdog and I'm going to win my over. So we're capitalizing on huge discrepancies. But what you're going to see is this Valkyrie guy, right? I bet him over 5.5 on Prize Picks. Prize Picks had their line a bit too low. They've moved it up to 6, right? So some of the value went away. And then let's check Underdog Fantasy. So Underdog Fantasy, they moved his line to 7, right? So, a lot of the value's gone away. Underdog Fantasy moved its line down by 1.5. Prize Picks moved its line up by 0.5. So as sharp bettors find these discrepancies and start to middle bet, some of the best opportunities are unfortunately going to go away. So like speed does matter. It's kind of like, long story short, you want to be fast. So some of the best opportunities you're going to see are typically win books, first drop odds for an upcoming day. So we can see there's 2 CSGO, pretty big line discrepancies. So that's pretty cool. What else do we have here? We can see there's some League of Legends. There's some more CSGO. So we can create a slip here in a second. And obviously, the bigger discrepancy, the better. So what we can do, and you can see 37.5, 39.5. Like there's some pretty big discrepancies here. And then what we can also do is go over to parlay play. Maybe there's some better opportunities there, some better middle bets. And what we can do is we can just kind of like take a look. So again, like if you only were to pick, one side. So this is something, I've kind of explained before. And in general, if you look at some of the plays we hit earlier, like it's always a good sign when the sportsbook moves the line in your favor. So for example, we had SSO over 10.5 kills in map 1 and map 2. How high is Underdog Fantasy? They're only at 11. So they only bumped it up a little bit. But typically, like, as I mentioned, the good opportunities are going to go away. But also, in general, at least from what I've noticed, and this is anecdotal, so I don't want to say it's like, perfectly accurate, but it seems like in general, Underdog Fantasy, moves their lines in Prize Picks' direction. So, in general, Underdog Fantasy seems to screw up esports lines more than Prize Picks. So, for example, like for this Virtuoso play, parlay play, right? This sports book, they have his line at 36.5. So if we go over here to parlay play, right? They have his line at 36.5. They're also running a promo, so maybe we should bet this. But they have his line at 36.5. Prize Picks also has his line at 36.5. Underdog Fantasy's at 39, right? So there aren't a ton of sports books that post, player prop lines for esports, but it kind of seems like, okay, seems like at least Underdog Fantasy is the side that's slipping up, right? They have the line at 39. Prize Picks, parlay play have the line lower at 36.5. So if you were only to bet one, you'd probably want to take the under 39 on Underdog since they're higher than 2 other sports books. We have 2 other data points. And it's the same thing here with NAF, right? So for NAF, parlay play has his line at 35.5. So does Prize Picks. Underdog Fantasy's at 33.5. So kind of seems like they're the ones screwing up once again. But anyways, what we can do is we can reload this and maybe parlay play is running a promo. I mean, literally these promos are infinite, it seems like. And I included my refer a friend codes below. If you sign up, obviously, great because I make money with my codes. But parlay play, what's great about parlay play is they run promos like every other sports book. So this play is not like insanely good, but you can see for Luis Castillo, they're bringing his strikeout line from 7.5 to 6.5, right? So one strikeout is a pretty big move in the odds. Like a lot of people are like, oh, it could still lose. And it's like, yeah, for sure, it could still lose. But if you go to like, FanDuel, you can kind of take a look. Like it's a big change in the odds. Like one strikeout of value is a lot of value. It's more than enough that you should be betting these slash line specials on parlay play every single time. So if I just go to like pitcher props, you can see for Castillo, right? 7+ strikeouts, which is over 6.5. So it's a little confusing. Over 6.5 is the same as 7+, right? So if Castillo has exactly 7 or more strikeouts, then over 6.5 is going to win, and so is 7+. So you're going to see like, this one strikeout of value, 7.5 to 6.5, changes the odds from -230 to -115. So it's a big change in the line. And of course, could it still lose? Yeah, but like you're gambling. You're looking for plays with an edge. Not every bet is going to win. It's all about winning long term. So we can look for like maybe a middle between parlay play and underdog fantasy and take advantage of this promo. So also, what's going on with this Ken Waldachuk guy? We can reload this because it seems like his line is 4 here, right? On parlay play, where are these other sports books? So the other sports books have him around 3.5. Some have the under favored, some have the over favored. So I'm not really sure what's going on because clearly a lot of books have pulled his line, which isn't kind of normal. Maybe we just skip it for now. I'm not sure. When a lot of books pull lines, typically, a lot of times it's like a player's not actually going to play. He's not starting. So I'm just going to skip over that for now. Anyways, so here we can see a pretty big middle. This one's between parlay play and prize pick. So you won't see this during the NBA regular season, but for Summer League, they have Jalen Hood. They have his line at 15.5. Prize picks is at 17.5. So pretty big discrepancy. So what we can do, and in general, like prize pick seems to be the side that you want to go with. Like prize pick seems to be, sharper, smarter, whatever you want to call it. So we want to take his under here. Nope. Actually, I'm wrong. Parlay play had their line at 15.5. We wanted to bet the over. You can see they just moved their line up to 17, just like prize picks. So the value on that play, unfortunately, went away. So again, you got to be kind of quick to get down some of these plays. So what we can do is let's just focus on esports. So what we want to do is we want to take Virtuoso over, right? Pretty big middle opportunity. So what we can do is we can take his over on underdog, or his over on parlay play, right? Underdog fantasy, pretty big line discrepancy at 39. So we'll hit the under. Right? And on parlay play, you want to aim to place 5 or 6 pick entries, just in terms of like the math, the payout structure, everything like that. So then for Maka, we want to take under 39.5, right? So perfect. And then on underdog fantasy, we want to take him over 37.5 for, or hedge, or however you want to think about it. So, and then we can see there's another one, JT, right? His line is 29.5 on underdog. Parlay play prize picks have it at 27.5. So what we can do is we can middle it. So we can take JT under. So none of these players from the same game. Okay, perfect. Because they won't let you bet players from the same game. Like you can't pair teammates together on parlay play and underdog fantasy. So here we go, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 picks on parlay play. Pretty cool. And then we can go here and we can see what else we want to go with. So again, like in general, I kind of like esports or middling on esports. And the reason is just like, that I prefer to middle is there's only 3 sports books really that post esports player prop lines. So you don't have as much confidence in your bets, right? Like for this play, there were tons of sports books posting MLB lines, stuff like that. So like, for example, this play on Jock Market, this is one I actually locked in. I gave it out on Twitter. But you're going to see like you have tons of data points, right? In Jock Market's minus 119 odds. All these other sports books have this around like minus 145. So pretty clear. You have tons of sports books with their sophisticated models all telling you this should be priced around minus 145. So it's like, yeah, getting minus 119 on Jock Market seems pretty good. There's a bunch of different sports books posting lines. So let me zoom out a bit, and then we can find a final esports play, maybe the middle. We could do CSGO. So parlay play has Chaz McCormick over half of a base. So maybe we just add in this, right? Boom. And this will be my entry. So I'm not sure why it's screwing up here, but we'll see how much they let me bet. So 5-pick insured entry. So the max you can bet for this promo is $10. So I'll hit this for $10. And then we can just like hedge on Underdog Fantasy, kind of lock in our middle, right? Taking advantage of these line discrepancies for $10 as well. And then you can see the plays right here, right? So nothing super complicated, taking advantage of a profitable promo on parlay play. Also, if you haven't placed a bet yet on Prize Picks, every Friday they run like a risk-free bet. If you just look at their Twitter, Prize Picks Twitter, they'll have some information on it. Your first bet is risk-free on Friday, as long as it's a flex play. So here's what I went with for the parlay play promo, right? Slashing the line so we get a full strike out of value on Castillo. Anyways, let's go back here. And then we can also go to Hot Streak. Maybe they added an hourly odds boost. Who knows? No, it doesn't look like it. So whatever, we'll go back to Underdog. What's up, guys? Man, did I take the wrong thing? FML. No, kills. If I took the wrong thing, man. Well, whatever. I took the wrong play on JT. Hopefully people saw him in the chat. Anyways, I apologize. Thanks for pointing that out, though. So let me send you an article. It kind of explains how many picks are optimal. But at the end of the day, like when you're middle betting, I mean, so like if you look at on Prize Picks, 5-pick entries are kind of optimal. So you'll notice like for this Valkyrie play, I played a 5-pick entry, but then on Underdog, some of these really big, really good middles, they move pretty quickly. So on Prize Picks, 3-pick entries are horrible. And the reason they're horrible, you never want to place a 3-pick entry on Prize Picks. And it may not seem like a big deal, but this is actually it's actually, a really big deal. I'm not sure why Prize Picks isn't loading. Let's try reloading this. Okay. So like on Prize Picks, any 3-pick entry you create, you're only getting a 5x payout. Whereas on Underdog Fantasy, you're getting a 6x payout. So that actually makes a massive difference in terms of the math behind the platforms. And on Underdog, you can see you're getting a 6x payout for any 3-pick entry. Doesn't matter what 3 picks you select, overs, unders, whatever. If you change this to an NFL future, you're still getting a 6x payout. Whereas Prize Picks, you're only getting 5x, which is horrible, right? In terms of the implied odds, if you read the article, it'll help make sense. But basically for this reason, you never want to place, what am I trying to say? You never want to place a 3-pick entry on Prize Picks. But long story short, like on Underdog Fantasy, I'm going to place 3-pick entries because I want to move pretty quickly. And by that, I mean so here's like a 4-pick insured entry. So on Underdog Fantasy, it's like 3-pick entries, no insurance, 3-pick entries with no insurance, 4-pick entries with insurance, and then 5-pick entries with or without insurance. So here I'm going to get 375, which kind of stinks for this 4-pick entry, but whatever. But long story short, when I'm placing these middle bets, it doesn't really matter if I include them all in the exact same slip or not. So this Valkyrie play, I middled it in a 5 flex, right? So I included it in this 5 flex. And then you'll see this on play I did as well. Soul I did, but Hacha Matcha, I included it in a different slip on Underdog. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you're middling the exact same stuff or not. Or if you're middling with the same amount of picks in an entry, it doesn't really matter at all. Nah, no Discord. Any CSGO bets. Anyways, let me take a look. Nah, no Discord. Anyways, let's see if there's any other questions. I think we do have Valorant. Thanks for pointing this out again. Can you do an actual underdog slip? Sure. Why don't we do an underdog slip while we are at it? So let me reload this. And you can see here, like, again, pretty big discrepancies. You'd be, I assume, pretty shocked if you saw an NBA player, right? His rebound line at 6 on underdog, 7 on prize pick. So these are pretty big discrepancies. But let's look for something where parlay play has a line as well. So we can kind of like, so if we wanted to create a slip and not middle on underdog fantasy, again, like you should have a little less confidence because there's not that many sports books, posting lines on eSports. But again, this Virtuoso guy, his line is 39 on underdog. It's 36.5 on prize picks and parlay play. So we have 2 data points, right? 2 sports books, prize picks. Prize picks in general seems to be the smarter side. Their lines tend to be more accurate. Like you'll notice underdog fantasy in general, again, adjusts towards prize picks. So like if we look at some of these middles, what's a good example? So maybe Patrick, right? We got him under 9 earlier on underdog. Let's see what he is now. Now he's at 8. So in general, it's like underdog fantasy is the one that ends up moving. They realize they're screwing up and they move. So this could be the first pick we place. Virtuoso under 39, right? Parlay Play hasn't posted League of Legends lines for tomorrow, right? So here's another one. Xantries over 41. Prize Picks has his line 2 kills higher at 43. Parlay Plays 43.5, right? And it would be great if DraftKings, BetMGM, all these other books posted esports lines, and they also had the line at 43, 43.5, because that increases our confidence that underdog fantasy has their line too low. But regardless, we'll go ahead. We'll lock this in. So we have 1, 2, and then let's try to find one more CSGO pick. Or we can do League of Legends. So this play seems even better than the first 2, right? 3.5 to 4, right? In terms of percentage, like you have to think about this. Like imagine if a sports book had an NFL total at 35 and other sports books were at 40, right? In terms of the percentage, 3.5 versus 4 is big. So we can see here parlay play. Let's go back here. So we hit that first play. Bertles at 4, right? Underdog Fantasy has his line at 3.5. Parlay play, prize picks have his line at 4. So it's like, okay, that seems pretty good. So what else do we have? Any other League of Legends picks? Here's another few esports ones. Let's see if there's any League of Legends. So no more League of Legends. But this play seems decent. I mean, this play seems best. The Bertle over 3.5 seems best on underdog fantasy. So you want to play a 3-pick entry with no insurance. I already bet this Virtuoso play, but just for $10. But the Xantries play, I bet for $250. So I'm actually not going to be able to bet this. So I'm going to have to remove that. Underdog fantasy, you can only bet $250 per esports player per day. So underdog fantasy, they don't like limit you if you're making money off them, but they have max bet sizes. So I have to skip over this play. You could include it in my 3-pick entry. You could make a 4-pick entry with insurance, but regardless, let's see what I can find. So we have options. We could take Maka over. So let's see how we feel about this. So sure. I mean, over 37.5. I mean, this isn't as crazy as the last live stream I did where there are some massive, massive discrepancies, but still we found 3 plays with value. Screw it. If we wanted to make this a 4 or 5-pick slip, what we could do is include this JT line, right? So none of these plays from the same game, right? So 1 League of Legends, 4 CSGO. So we could do something like this, Polo under 41.5. And let's make sure, as the first person pointed out, Nick, that I don't have. So this we don't want to include. Well, we're not going to be able to bet it, but in CSGO, well, we're just not going to be able to bet it. But taking players from the same team, I mean, you can see if I try to bet this, I don't think they're going to let me bet it. Yep, they're going to say only one player on the same team. So I'm going to have to skip over that. And then what we can do is we can keep going down. And then we get to NAF over 33.5. So it's like, okay, so again, it's just pointing out discrepancies. OddsJam doesn't do anything that complicated, to be honest. Like, all it really does is scan these lines and just point out the discrepancies. So it's updating, thousands of lines, millions of lines, depending on the sport, the amount of sports books you use, but in real time to just point out value, point out discrepancies, kind of like cutting out the BS. So here we have a 5-pick slip, right? So I'll play it with insurance. Again, if you look through that article I posted earlier, 5 picks, it doesn't really matter. You can play them with or without insurance. And there we have 5 picks that I'll go ahead and lock in. And we'll hit it for like whatever, $100. So pretty good stuff. 1, NAF over 33.5, JT under 29.5, Maka over 37.5, Bertol over 3.5. This is definitely the best play, the League of Legends pick, and then Virtuoso under 39. So 5-pick entry with insurance. There we go. We got a pretty good play on. And it looks like a lot of these, MLB games are starting to start. So there we go. 5-pick entry on Underdog Fantasy. So Underdog, again, they oftentimes move lines pretty quickly, but I will say, like, it definitely seems to be a little we also could have included closer under 6, but whatever, or over 5.5. You can see Parlay Play has his line at 6. Prize Picks has his line at 6. So I don't know how I missed that one, but I guess that would have been a decent one to include. So we can head over to Prize Picks, see if there's anything, but it seems like, a lot of the esports value, at least for now, has gone away. But there is a solid tennis play. So you can see Bergs versus Wild. Prize Picks has his line at 21. FanDuel's at 22.5. I'm sure there's other sports books if you just want to, go over to tennis and check it out. Some NBA Summer League discrepancies. So what we could do as well is we can take a specific look at League of Legends and see if we can find anything here. So for League of Legends, right, players from the same team are positively correlated to both go over together. And I've explained this in other live streams, so I don't want to dwell on it. But on Prize Picks, right, they don't account for correlation. So by that, I mean, if you went to NFL season and let's say you took, Mahomes over, right, and you took Travis Kelce over, right? It doesn't matter if you take Kelce's over or his under. Any 2-pick entry on Prize Picks, you're getting a 3x payout. But obviously, if Mahomes has a gangbuster season, throws for 50 passing TDs, Kelce is more likely to go over, right? So it would make no sense to take Mahomes over, Kelce under, when you're getting the exact same payout as if you include Kelce over. So again, Prize Picks lets you bet on players from this. So long story short, it's an added benefit. We saw earlier, Underdog Fantasy doesn't let you play esports players from the same team, but you can play players on opposing teams. So what we can do is we can see if we can find a good correlation slip. So for example, it's recommending we take the under 7 on Underdog and the over 2 or the under 2. So unfortunately, you want to look for overs and unders on players from opposing teams. So again, this was a 3-point middle earlier. Now it's down to a 1-point middle. But anyways, let's see. I think some of these plays I bet earlier too, so I'm not going to be able to rebet them. So you can see this play on slows was 9.5 on Underdog. On Prize Picks, they had him at 6.5. So that was another 3-kill discrepancy. It's been hammered down to only 1, but also that means I'm not going to be able to rebet this because on Underdog Fantasy, 250 max per esports player per day. But anyways, if we go here, this is what we want, right? So this is actually exactly what we want. So we want to play players. This is positively correlated. So you can create a positively correlated middle. So we want to take him under 7. And then we want to take this guy. And the correlation is pretty strong in League of Legends. Nope. So Oscar Nin. So basically, like, it's pretty simple, right? We found 1 kill line discrepancies on Underdog Fantasy and on Prize Picks, right? And basically, right, on Underdog, it wouldn't matter. I'd still get the exact same payout, 3x, if I take this guy to go over or under. But the way League of Legends works, if you just do some research or if you watch it, you already know it, is if Oscarin goes under, then Exaka Kick is more likely to go over, right? So these bets are positively correlated, and it's the same thing on Prize Picks. If Oscarin goes over, then Exaka Kick is more likely to go under. So that's positively correlated. So we found 2 positively correlated middles. And all we need to do now is find a couple more, right? Because we want to create a 5-pick entry. So I'm looking for, like, okay, where are there players on opposing teams where we're taking 1 over and 1 under, and there's a big line discrepancy, right? That's a good strategy, really good strategy, for betting on esports. So let's see if any of these players, who is Impunity playing? HPIG. So the issue is, like, so many different team names. Is HPIG Hell Pigs? Yeah, it is. Perfect. So on Hell Pigs, we want to take Taco over 2, right? On Underdog. On Prize Picks, I want to take this homie to go under 2.5. So again, like, this is a big discrepancy, right? 2 versus 2.5, NBA player 20 versus 25. I mean, you don't see this level of discrepancies in other sports. So then I want to take Arashi over 2, right? I want to take his under 2.5, right? So they're on opposing teams. So this is positively correlated. So I'm creating, like, a positively correlated middle bet, right? If Arashi goes over, Taco's more likely to go under, right? So that works out well for us. On the other hand, if Taco goes over, Arashi's more likely to go under. So we're creating, like, a little positively correlated middle. And then what I can do is I can just try to find one last play on Prize Picks. Maybe we take this tennis bet. Where is it? So let's add tennis back in. We can add in all sports, whatever. And we can add in this play on Wild over 21, right? Because we want to play 5 picks on Prize Picks. So go here, and then I want to go here to over 21, right? And I can lock this in for $250. So this will be my slip on Prize Picks. And then on Underdog Fantasy, they'll move lines quickly, but I want to place this slip with insurance. So again, you can play 3 picks, 4 picks with 3 picks, no insurance, 4 picks with insurance, 5 pick, it doesn't matter, are kind of equal on Underdog Fantasy. So under, over, all of these plays are positively correlated. These 2 are, and these 2 are. So that is a huge benefit of betting on esports. Again, Underdog Fantasy, they're pretty smart with correlation, so they won't let you bet on players from the same team, but you can still take players on opposing teams, which is really powerful for esports betting. So I'm going to go ahead and lock that in. I gave everyone enough time if you wanted to tail it. Okay. What the heck? No way. Did they just drop some more CSGO lines? What the heck is going on? Whoa. So it looks like they just dropped some CSGO lines. And the Sunny guy, he actually won me a big play. So there we go. Sunny, I had him under 43.5. So that was an Underdog Fantasy play. So he won me a $1,500 slip today. So it looks like they just dropped some more CSGO lines. They definitely did. Oh my God. So Sunny under 40. Holy moly. BNC under 37. Right? And you can see they've already locked Sunny. So someone's on it. Headshots under 20 half. Right? And then we want to go to prize picks. We want to go to CSGO and day trade these dang sports books. So 18. So of course now the good middles show up after we're like, a while into this live stream. No. So we want to take him over 33 half. So again, we're not taking an opinion on like, oh, is this guy going over or under? Again, it's just like a simple premise that these are massive middles. So did they like 37, 33 half? Imagine an NFL total being 37 on one sportsbook, 33 half on another, or an NBA player's PRA line. Like it doesn't happen. So did they bring back the Sunny play? So let's reload this. Sometimes they'll remove a pick and then they'll bring it back. So what I can do, they removed it. So that's annoying. But hopefully we can find a few more CSGO plays because clearly lines just dropped. And you can see there's some pretty big discrepancies. There is no lack of discrepancies here. So, what do we want to go with? So maybe this, like 2 points, 16 to 18, pretty big in percentage form. Obviously, like a 16 to 18 middle is better than 36.5 to 38.5. So we can take him under 18 on underdog, right? Headshots. And then on prize picks, we can take him over. Over 16. So these players, I'm not sure. Oh, well, we actually don't want to take this, right? We don't want to take one of these picks. These are, players from opposing teams. So we only want to take the better one, which appears to be this BNC play. Maybe. Let's go back here. Let's take a look. So this is a 3.5 point discrepancy. This is 2.5, but the line's a little lower. So 2.5 is, again, like if this one were 2.5, we'd prefer this one on, Paria's in because the line's lower. So like in a percentage, terms, the difference is bigger. But here it's like whatever. I mean, it's basically the same thing. You can pick one. So then we can take TKL. And again, underdog fantasy in general seems to be too high versus the rest of the market. So here we can take him over 31 half. Nope. So this homie's on the same team. So I need to avoid B Bold G and O Plano. So I already bet Virtuoso now. So what we can do is we can just like, Eternal Fire. This play already bet. So a lot of well, Virtuoso, I don't think I put the full amount on it. So maybe I'll be able to bet a little more in the middle. So yeah, I will. I believe I have $110 on it, so I can still bet 140 more on this middle, assuming he's not from the same game. So I want to take his under here, and then I want to take, or is that correct? Yep, and then his over here. Right, so these are 3 different games, so that works out okay. Right, so these 3 picks. Pretty big line discrepancies, right? Just showing up between prize picks and underdog. And I can guarantee you when you check tomorrow, you will not see, if you check at 8 a.m., there will not be a 3.5 kill discrepancy. That's crazy. So I'm going to lock in this. But then again, I need 2 more picks on prize picks. So I could have found more middles, but what we can do is we can just like go back to prize picks. We can take this tennis bet again, whatever. Go ahead, add that in. Nope. So let's go here. And then one more play on Prize Picks. What seems decent? What seems decent? Where does it look like Prize Picks is slipping up? So we can take a look. See if there's any League of Legends line discrepancies, something like that. Or any spots where, you know, so here's one on Olga, something like that. So these first middles are pretty good. So I'm just want to lock in a play before the line moves. So we'll do this one, right? And just $100 on a flex play. So two of these are just like, you know, good bets on Prize Picks that I'm finding, you know, on the fantasy screen. Looks like there were some other ones as well. Wow. Well, this play looks better. Jokic. Yeah, this play actually looks better. So let me remove this. And then let me remove this play on Emma. And we'll add, so 5 overs on Prize Picks. So we can add this one, right? And we want to hit this for $100. Flex play, right? And again, like, why do we like this play on Alcaraz versus, you know, Novak? Prize Picks has the line at 39.5. Pinnacle, one of the sharpest bookmakers, they have the line a 1.5 higher at 41. You know, DraftKings, 41.5. Caesars, 40.5. You know, BetMGM, 41.5 with the overjuiced. So, like, a lot of good lines in general. So 3 of these are middle plays between Underdog and Prize Picks, the eSports ones, which is perfect. And then we have 2 just profitable bets in general on Prize Picks. Anyways, I'm going to call it a day for now. So lines are typically posted, it seems like at like 3 p.m. for League of Legends. League of Legends is like 3 p.m. and 7. No, like 3 p.m. and then late at night. CSGO, because games start at different times. So they're always kind of being released. Anyways, hopefully this video was helpful. We'll call it.